Hey, how's it going? I'm in the process right now of adding this new 16 kilowatt battery from SUNGOLDPOWER to our emergency backup power system here. This is really a significant and important upgrade for us, and it might be for you too, especially if your goal is to DIY a system like this that will pass inspection, and get permitted, as well as being accepted by your utility company. So that whole process is something that I'm going through right now, and this battery is a very key component to help make that even possible. So I want to get this whole thing done before winter kicks in, because that means winter storms and power outages and all that stuff. So I want to take you through what I liked about it and how it's going to fit in our system, and we'll take a closer look at it, and then we'll get it tested and installed. And I'll show you how I got this almost 300-pound battery up here on the wall. Now there's a lot of features that we could go over and specifications, but I want to talk about the top characteristics and features of this battery that were most important to me. And the first one was that this is a 16 kilowatt hour battery. This is a massive battery, and for my application here, I don't have room for a big server rack and all that stuff. So to be able to pack that much capacity into one battery works for me, and the fact that I can mount it up here on the wall is even another bonus. I mean, we can also leave this on the ground. It's got nice feet. But I was really interested also in being able to wall mount it, to just kind of get it out of the way. The massive 16 kilowatt hour thing is a big bonus. You don't have to have multiple batteries to get the 16K. I think an optimal setup would be like 2 of these for about 32 kilowatts of storage. So that'll get you by for a long time if the power goes out. Now we've got 150 amps of continuous output with 190 max. That's going to be more than adequate for our needs. Now another nice feature about this battery is that it has CAN bus communication for the BMS to communicate with the inverter, as well as RS-45. But there's a lot of inverters that support CAN bus, so this battery is not proprietary to SUNGOLDPOWER at all, so you can use it for a lot of different platforms and scale it accordingly. So I like the fact that I could use this for a number of different inverters if I were to switch that out. And finally, we've got Bluetooth and Wi-Fi capability, and an app that we could use to monitor the status of the battery, as well as alarms and things like that, all from your phone, wherever you are. Now, when you submit all of your information to the utility company and the permitting authority, they're going to be looking for batteries listed that carry a UL1973 and a UL9540A safety certification. So good news, this battery meets those safety standards, and we should be good to go there. This is also an outdoor rated battery, so it is IP65 rated, and it can be installed outside or inside. Now, that's also something that you're going to have to indicate when you put together a site plan, and if you're submitting all your paperwork, it's going to have to show where you're going to install this stuff so they can inspect it and evaluate it appropriately. But as far as price goes on this battery, it sits at around $3,000 plus or minus a couple $100, depending upon whether there is sales going on at the time. So be sure to check out their website. I'll make sure I link to it here so you can keep tabs on current pricing if this is a battery that you're interested in. Now, I was quite surprised, given the size of this battery, how well it was packaged. And I didn't find any damage or anything with the battery once I got it unpacked. But it did show up on a pallet and boxed up in a wooden box that essentially had to be disassembled around the battery. I thought that was the easiest way to do it, as opposed to trying to pick it up and out of this box. So once I got it all taken apart, then I was able to move it around. But you know, I needed some help. So if you're moving this thing around, make sure you have either a human or mechanical assistance. One thing that I didn't really like was the fact that there's nowhere to really hook into you know, any sort of straps or anything like that. It, you know, has these handle holes on the side, or there's one of these handles also on each side if you're lifting it up this way. So I suppose that gives you some assistance if you're moving it around on the ground. But in my case, I have this hoist that I use to pick it up and put it on things that I can roll around. But there really is nowhere to hook that hoist to. So I had to get a little creative for how I was going to actually lift it up and put straps on it, because there's nothing really to to hook it to. It's just pretty smooth, and you know, all the way around, and I was able to figure it out. But anyway, that's just one thing that I noted that that would be nice to have, is some sort of handles that you can either remove or keep on, or straps that, you know, give you a place to hook onto and lift. Now it does come with these nice feet here on the bottom, and I think they're probably adjustable a little bit. You can twist them and adjust them, or probably even remove them completely. You know, I opted for the wall mount option, but I think probably most people probably gonna have them sitting on the ground. But yeah, I think I'll just leave them here. Why not? So when I do drop it down, if I ever need to, I got feet and they're not in the way or anything. But to get it up here on the wall, I needed a little bit of assistance with my hydraulic lift. But the first thing I needed to do was to assemble and mount the bracket that came with it. So I'm happy to see that they came with a pretty good bracket that had three vertical pieces, and then a horizontal piece to tie it all together. And I ended up fortifying this wall behind the sheetrock, you know, considerably, so that I could anchor this battery securely. And I ended up using lag bolts, like a dozen lag bolts in there to anchor this and secure this bracket before popping it in there. Now it does come with some masonry anchors that you can use if you were to put it on a concrete wall. But yeah, it went on pretty good. There's two anchor points on the back of the battery that they have three little notches that sit into this bracket nicely. So it all went together pretty well, and it's really secure. Yeah, you can't move this, you know, with that weight just sitting on that wall bracket. And so far it's pretty good. Now I do wish there was some kind of a set screw or something that we can put in here just to create one added level of security. It's basically just got the weight of the battery sitting in these notches, and it's really secure, but who knows? You know, if there was an earthquake or something like that was pretty major, I suppose it could bounce out that much and bounce out of the bracket. So I might add something there. Now, if you're planning to keep this on the ground, it does give you these brackets here that you can anchor it to the wall so that it's not going to move around on you. And got a nice big hole for a lag bolt or something like that. And there's two threaded inserts here for, you know, a couple of screws to go in and hold this in place. So you would pick a spot to anchor it to, and then put your lag bolt in there, and then you could be able to adjust, you know, the distance from the wall here using these brackets. There's one on either side. So nice that they included that. Here's the other one. Now on the right hand side here, we can make our connections. Now this can be very easy. This comes with these little rubber covers to protect these quick connect ports, and love these Degson quick connects. So now we just take one side of our cable that it comes with, push it in until it snaps, and then the same thing with the positive cable, it snaps. Now if you want to remove these, there's a little button on the side, just squeeze, then it comes off. These are sealed up really nice. Now there's also a ground wire that goes here, and I'm going to connect this to the inverter on the equipment ground. There we go. And I'll just slide that behind here, and we'll route that to the inverter. Now we've got two communications ports here. This is the RS-45 and CAN port, and it has the word inverter underneath it. So that's what we're going to use for our communication cable. Now if we're going to use a secondary cable to connect to another battery, we would use this here. And we also have one on the other side, which I'll show you. But it comes with a communication cable. Now this is a standard Ethernet cable, nothing special about the wiring here. And we do have a weatherproof connector on here if we wanted to install this outside and keep this connection weatherproof. But for now, we're just gonna pop it in there till it clicks. We could screw that down. We wanted to seal that up real nice. And then the other end here, we're gonna run inside the inverter to our CAN input communication port. All right, inside the inverter here, we'll connect our battery negative, battery positive here. Our CAN communication cable goes in here for our BMS connection. It's this way. All right. Tidy this up a little bit. Now I wish this comm cable was a little bit longer. It's a little tight right here. So I'll probably swap this out with a longer cable. Like I said, you can just use a standard networking cable. So Ethernet cable, no problem. For the CAN bus, all you need is a regular straight cable. Now you'll notice here on the opposite side of the battery, we've got two more battery connections. We still have our little waterproof cap here, so we can leave that on, but yeah, that's just in parallel with the other side. So what I'm going to use this for is to hook up a secondary battery charger. So if for some reason we're in an extended power outage and you know, I want to put some more juice in the battery, I don't have to worry about, you know, solar or whatever. I can just hook up my 48-volt battery charger to this and plug some juice into the battery. We've got another communication port. This is for RS-485, and what we'll use this for is to connect our secondary, tertiary, you know, all our additional batteries together. So using the CAN bus, we basically just daisy chain these, and we go from this to the CAN bus on the next battery, and then from the 485 to the CAN bus on the other one. So each battery should come with a communication cable. So this one didn't come with an extra cable, so you would just use the cable that came with the secondary battery. Now I should also mention, if you're connecting to an inverter that doesn't have CAN bus or a CAN port and it just has RS-485, then you're going to have to probably create a cable and wire it specifically for, you know, your inverter, and it should come with specifications for how to wire the RS-485 cable for that inverter. Typically, you're going to have a different configuration on both sides of the cable, one for the inverter side, one for the battery side. Now we also have another grounding port here, so if we have additional batteries, we would just connect the ground here on this side, and it makes it easier to go side by side and just connect all the grounds together, and then that ultimately gets connected to the inverter ground. And this looks like it's just a vent, maybe. And you can also see here that we have a waterproof cover over our circuit breaker. To fire it up, we go under our little waterproof cover here, and we have a power switch. And all we have to do is turn that on, and battery comes to life. Now in the middle here we have our dip switches, and this is going to identify all our batteries if we have multiple batteries. For a standalone operation, we just want everything in the down position for one battery, but if you have one or more, you can do up to 16, then you would set these accordingly. This would be like number 1 as a master, then it would be set to number 2, 3, all the way down the chain, so that the BMSs get identified appropriately. And we have a USB connection here, which I imagine might be used for firmware upgrades or something. It does come with this cable that is included in case you wanted to connect to that and you needed to for some particular reason. All right. Now if we hit the battery breaker on the inverter here, then inverter should come to life. Takes a bit. Now while it's firing up, I should also point out that if you're connecting your BMS communication here and you're using the CAN port, you're going to want to make sure that you set your BMS protocol to Pylon. So P-Y-L-O-N, Pylon Tech. So you should have a list of options for your particular inverter. Once you set it to Pylon and your cable's connected, then your comms should just automatically just come online. It should be pretty easy, just like that. Now I'm using the SUNGOLDPOWER 11K split phase inverter, and I can see here that my BMS is communicating to my battery status, and everything is good to go as far as the battery is concerned. And it's showing 89%, which is what it says on the battery. Now I did run a full capacity test on the battery. The first time that I set it up, it was just sitting here on the ground. Charged it all up to 100%, and then just discharged it for several hours until I hit 16 kilowatts, and that was at about 4% of state of charge. So that was great, you know, pull the full capacity. What I did learn is that it does reserve a little bit at the bottom for the BMS. So I don't think it's going to let you get all the way to 0. But I really do like the simplicity of the display as well. You'll notice on the front here there's no buttons and stuff. It's just this touch screen display, and it's got 4 screens that I can show you. So the first screen, we've got our state of charge. It's got a temperature reading there, probably internal temperature, and then we've got our remaining hours and minutes. If we just swipe over, go to the next screen, we've got our voltage, and on the bottom we've got our amps being consumed, and a list of I guess these are alarms, so like high voltage, low voltage, LV, HT, probably high temperature, low temperature. And yeah, it'd be nice to, I haven't seen any of these light up yet, but I imagine they just probably go reverse or something and illuminate when there is one of those alarms. The next screen, we can see all of our cell voltages in the middle. Everything has always been really well balanced when I've looked at this. So right now 3.32 for just about everything, 3.33, 3.32. Pretty well balanced for all 16 cells. And the last screen just shows some setup information, Wi-Fi status and stuff like that. So our address, which is 0, so that would be good to know if you're setting up multiple batteries. It'll tell you what your what the address is on your dip switch settings for, you know, 1 or more batteries. So yeah, otherwise it just pretty much sits here and provides just good information. No buttons or anything to get wet or, you know, start sticking, and it's really good. But It is helpful to have the app though, so you can just monitor things remotely. The app is pretty straightforward, pretty easy to use, nothing too fancy. We got our state of charge here, little meter, voltage, current draw, what our full capacity would be, remaining capacity, and then we can scroll down. We got our temperature readings, etc., discharge time, number of cycles. See, I've already cycled this about 6 times. On this next screen, we can show our little chart of our state of charge and look at all of our cell voltages. And just like on the main screen, we've got a log that'll show any faults. I pretty much just use this home screen to just check on the state of charge, and that's it. Well, one thing you do need to know about the app is that in order to get the remote monitoring via Wi-Fi, anywhere in the world, you're going to have to set up an online account through the app, and give it a username or email and password, and you should be good to go. And then also connect it to a local Wi-Fi access point. Once you've done that, you'll be able to pull up the app and see the battery state of charge and all the other stuff, monitor things remotely from anywhere. You probably already have set something up like that on your inverter, so you can just sit around anywhere and just monitor the state of things. But overall, I really have no major complaints about this battery so far. It's rock solid, discharges, recharges as you would expect perfectly. The only issue that I've had has been with the having a place to grab on and hook things to when I've been moving it around because of its size and weight. Now, if you'd like to learn more about this 11K split phase hybrid PV inverter that we're using with the battery here, then be sure to check out this video that I've linked to down here. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.